All right, YouTube fam. I'm Alex.
I'm Josh, and we're Sin City Reacts.
Yep.
Why are you so blue in the face, man?
There's nothing blue about me today.
You're right. You got a better color on today.
No.
Because Alex here lost himself a bet. The Rebels took home the Fremont Cannon, and Alex had to pay the price and represent the UNLV running Rebels.
You know, my daughter went there for a semester, and I thought I was ready because she's going to college there. I was going to buy some gear, but the occasion never arose to where I'd have to wear it. So I thought, I got out of wearing it, even though she went there. And
Well, now we upgraded your wardrobe a little bit. You can get rid of some of that ugly, gaudy blue color that you had last week. That was a little bit rough. Now you got shaped up, you're ready to go. And just in time for basketball season, too. You'll be all right because they're going to be better than UNR in basketball, too. Everything works out for you. But today we're going to get into a little bit more music. You introduced me to Dax the week before last, and I don't know if it was the FBI agent in my phone or just, kind of happenstance, but as I was driving home, a Dax song came up on my playlist.
Okay.
And so I'm going to introduce you to one of his newer songs that I just found out about. It's called To Be a Man. And this one kind of hits home, I think, for anybody that just kind of the life of a man and, 2023 and stuff like that. So I'm very curious to hear your take on it.
Okay. So here we go.
No. We got to represent. Have to represent here.
All right. So here we are. We're going to watch Dax To Be a Man.
I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Yeah, I know this life can really beat you down. You wanna scream, but you won't make a sound. Got so much weight that you've been holding, but won't show any emotion. As a man that goes unspoken, now we can't cry when life gets hard. Unconditional loves for women, children, and dogs. We know that we just have to play our parts, and don't nobody give a damn about our broken hearts, yeah. As a man, we gotta pave our way. Our only function is to work and slave. There's no respect for you if you ain't paid. You're disregarded as a human and you can't complain. And if you ever make it up and actually reach that base and find a woman that you love and give her your last name, you'll feel the things that you provide is only why she stays. And when you try to explain, you'll say, I can't hide myself.
That's a long verse.
It is. It's a heavy one, too.
It really is, and that's why I was like, I couldn't stop it. I had to let it finish.
So I'm driving home, and this just pops on. And I'm like, what the heck? And then as I listen to it, I'm like, oh, he's getting really, deep on this.
Yeah.
I heard or read something kind of crazy that came across, and it was like, just talking about manhood and stuff. And it says that a man only truly experiences unconditional love from his mother. Every other person in his life expects something from him. It's not his father, only his mother.
Wow. That's deep.
Think about that, right?
Yeah.
Like you have wife, kids, family.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about that, like everybody hopes. I hope that my wife loves me unconditionally, But then, you think about it, and it gets put in these contexts and stuff like that, and it's like he says in the one verse, you realize that all they do is love you for what you provide and what you give. True or not true? Makes you rethink it.
I mean, I don't know. That's interesting. I like to think that I've reached a point in my marriage where it's like that.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And that's the hope. But there's a lot of men probably on the opposite side of that would say that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Or that have gone through a divorce or a breakup or whatever you want to call it, where it was because you stopped providing X, Y, or Z. It's a heavy, heavy thing to think about. That's why I said
true.
it was crazy to me.
But I mean, if you think about our roles in nature, though, that it is a man's job to provide.
That's exactly.
So
I think that's the burden, like the burden of womanhood is like childbearing, right? The burden of manhood is providing.
well, it's not just childbearing, but it's also the nurturing aspect.
I kind of like wrap that all like mother. I guess like mother.
Mothering.
The motherhood or maternal instinct. I guess is kind of like that that burden, but it's still like the man's job to go out and provide.
Right.
But then that goes all the way back to if you're not, then do you get punished for it? Or if you can't, do you get punished for it?
Yeah, I probably have some not popular beliefs with today's men. But yeah, I get it.
Like I said, this is like 2023, right? Like what like his take on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But let's hit it back and see what he says. He's got some more in here that kind of weighs.
Okay.
I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road.
Okay, I just gotta stop for a second. So I watch these TikToks, right, where
Okay.
they go along these lines where the guy's like, "Oh, you don't know what it's like to be man," and like, "Oh, there's silent, like the stress and all that other crap." And I don't know, my perspective. Maybe I'm just too old school, but my thing is, suck it up and fucking deal with it, dude. Be a man.
But that's his point. That's his point. That's his whole point. That's what you got to hear. That's his whole point is that it is our job to suck it up and deal with it.
And I'm good with that.
But then his whole point is like, what if you're not in that place? What it like you have like if you his thing is saying that like let's say that you just want to talk it out for a second, like it's weighing on you, like they don't understand the weight, like it's how heavy it is. You want to talk it out. You can't talk it out to your friends because then they're gonna think you're a bitch. So you want to be able to talk to your wife about it, but if you talk to your wife about it, then it makes you look weak, and you're not the provider that she expects you to be. It's a catch-22 in his mind.
I mean, I guess it would suck if you have that kind of relationship.
That's what I was gonna. That's the flip side of it. That you're probably not in the right relationship then, right?
90% of the time, I don't want to talk, and so it's very rare when I'm like wanting to talk about something.
Yeah.
But when I do, I don't feel like that.
See, and I think that I think that speaks to your marriage then, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where, I mean, he's obviously in his, I don't say in his feelings is probably the wrong terminology, but has this vision or this.
Well, he's
what it's supposed to
obviously
be like.
drinking his misery away.
Oh, the actor or
In the video, not
yeah.
Dax. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude in the video. I honestly believe it comes down to the strength of a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And if it's not, then I think that's kind of like you said. It just speaks to what kind of relationship you're in, and that's something that should be probably rooted out very early, or at least sooner than later.
And so the problem is, like, I am very blessed, but the problem with like most people and unhappy marriage, or I wouldn't say most people because I don't know. I'm just guessing. The problem with people that are in unhappy marriages is they probably, that's what was modeled to them. And so they think it's absolutely normal to be miserable when, it doesn't have to be. So, all right.
Let's get back into it.
and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Don't give up, keep fighting. As a man, our sun is our horizon, and our father's actions play a role, and we end up like them. So they can't let us see them hurt, cause we'll embody what they do and start a generational curse. No wonder most men are so depressed, all the things that they can't express. They go to war, get thrown on the shelf, then go back to war with their mental health. Then grab that bottle and ask for help, try to pull themselves out of hell, then fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the circle of life. As a man you provide, they don't know what you're worth till the day that you die, and that's when they start crying. Then move on to a man to confide in. That's why we feel we can't hide ourselves. We don't expect you to understand. We just hope we can explain what it's like to be a man.
Okay, I will make the exemption for the veterans because of the crap that they go through and the stuff they have to deal with, and then just turn it off like a switch because now they're back here.
Mm-hmm.
That's an exception in my book. Like,
That's the exception to the suck it up kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's something else there's one thing. This also made me think of one of those TikToks I saw where it was just a video of a car driving, and the caption said something about, if your man says he's going for a drive, ask to go with him, because when men go for a drive, they're not caring what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask to go with him, he will keep you safe.
Yeah.
And
It'll
so-
alleviate his mindset of,
Yeah.
I still got to do.
Thinking about my mindset when I was in my 20s, that is absolute 100% correct. Because I used to drive when I was pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times when I would drive recklessly, or faster than I should, or do stupid things because I didn't care. That was where I was at in my head at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm lucky I didn't do something really stupid. So yeah, this video made me think of that.
I think it's like something to say too, like kind of the old school, new school mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the whole used to be like, man went to work, woman stayed home, woman
Mm-hmm.
took care of kids, man came home, man got fed, man went to sleep, man
Right.
went back to work. You know what I mean? Where nowadays it's like there's a lot more male involvement with child upbringing, which I think is a fantastic thing. Don't get me
Right,
wrong.
and I think that's also because women have had to go to work.
Which is exactly what I'm
so
saying. It's now like an equal.
It's
equal
balanced
thing.
out. Yeah.
And so I think that I think the problem stems is when they're like, it's all about balance, right? In a marriage, in a relationship, whatever. Like having that balance of, this is kind of your domain. This is my domain. This is our domain.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to attack this together. But I think it's something to be said. Like when men feel that pressure of, suck it up, right? How can they handle it if they haven't been trained to handle it, like he was talking about from the father and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what kind of values were instilled in you and what you kind of have gone through. Because if you haven't gone through it, then, or you didn't have somebody that went through it.
Right, and then the other thing I think about is like they use an older man in this video for an example, but honestly, I think men in their
So they
20s.
start out with the older man and then they work down.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm. They work through different, like this is a different guy than that we started
Okay.
with.
Okay.
So they're showing like different, like there was the he's like, this is like a younger guy that just got back from war.
Okay.
Now he's working in the like a framer. Then the other guy was a truck driver, and then there was the other dad with the two sons,
Uh-huh.
and like he was sitting there with like the bills and stuff like that, and it had like the collection notices on it.
No, and I one thing I think about, I think about looking back my mindset when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Totally 100% opposite of where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And as a young man, you're like, your frontal lobe is not done developing until you're in your early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of emotions and stuff that young men are dealing with that they don't know how to deal with. And so I could see how this relate to that. And then if you have kids young, like I'm glad I had kids young because I consider myself still young and I can do stuff with my kids. Not that they're grown and it's fun, but holy crap, trying to raise kids when you're in your 20s, like the benefits now are awesome, but it was not easy.
No, and it's a grind, and like, if you're not in for the grind, and like I said, like I think that all plays into like what you were instilled with, and if you didn't have a father figure or a grandfather or an uncle or whatever, you know, that male figure to be able to like show you that way, I see why a lot of like younger guys, especially, you know, that were raised without a male, like have a hard time with that, because that male instinct, that male suck it up and figure it out kind of thing is not passed down. That's not something that you just figure out. It's something that's instilled in you when you fall down and your dad looks at you and says, "Get up, I don't care that you have a scratch." You know, I always kind of refer back to, my dad used to give me this thing of, when I was playing sports, are you hurt or does it hurt? Because if you're hurt, okay, like we need to go get it fixed.
Yeah.
If it just hurts, figure it out.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it.
And that's kind of, but that mentality, like, is not just like something that I stick with in sports. That's like a life mentality that I have, is like, okay, is this hard or can I not do it? Because if it's just hard, then I got to figure out how to get through it.
Right, and that the thing is that's how I raised my kids. That's how I don't know. I don't want to say I was completely raised that way because I was the baby of the family. Like they probably could have been a little more rough on me, but like that's how I raised my kids, because like I want my son to be a man. I don't want him to be.
But then my question goes, you know, I don't know what the actual statistics are, but like, if you're raised by a single mother or you're raised by a grandmother or with no father figure, right? Does mom or grandma look at you and say, "Rub some dirt on it"?
Not all the time.
So then how does that translate to when you're 25?
Right.
How does that translate to when you're 35? How does that translate to when life punches you in the face? Because that's a whole different, and I think that's kind of where like the manliness of society has kind of tapered off.
Well,
like that, I don't know, you know.
There's that and that whole thing about toxic masculinity.
But there's a difference, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between toxic masculinity, and there's a difference between sometimes this is how you have to be a man. Right. You know, and I think that gets caught up in the people that overdo it. Yeah. You know. All right, let's finish it up.
All right. It's like this 3-minute video, a 3-minute music video is turned into like a 30-minute reaction. So here we go.
It's a lonely road, and you don't care about what we know. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home.
I mean, overall, I would say definitely good song, good video. I understand the message Dax is trying to put out.
I think that's why. I mean, that's why I said like this isn't listen to what is happening. This is like listen to what he's saying. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why I want to get your take on like exactly what it is. I don't think our people knew that we were psychologists too, so help them out there.
Yeah, probably pissed some people off at the beginning of the video, but
it's okay. You brought them back. You worked your way back.
Hopefully they watched the whole thing.
Yeah, you turned it off.
I lost some subs. All right. Well, as usual though, Dax is awesome. And like I said, I've only known him to be a rapper until that one reaction we did.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning that he's got some real songs out there. Such, diverse talent. But I guess, that's what you get when you're not attached to a label. You get to do whatever you want and show all your talent.
And he's speaking from his heart. I mean,
yeah. So.
It's a good one.
Absolutely. All right. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe.
See ya.
Later.